Bună ziua din nou! Am avut câteva probleme tehnice, dar ne întoarcem la dialogul nostru cu Kelly Hunter despre munca sa în cadrul companiei Flute Theatre pe care a fondat-o, despre metoda pe care o aplică în lucrul cu copiii pe spectrul autist. So Kelly, let's go back to the conversation. What you were saying was going through one of my questions, the difference between art as therapy and therapy through art.
Yes.
What's the difference?
So for me, all art is therapeutic.
Yeah.
All art. I mean, people don't go to art, theatre, music, sculpture to stay in the same feeling. We want to have our feelings changed and moved. So there's a therapeutic benefit to all art.
Yeah.
And what we do in our shows with the autistic people, we're not setting ourselves up as therapists. We're artists, and we're making our presentation, our sharing of, say, Twelfth Night or Pericles or King Lear. We welcome the participants to join us, to share it with us. So it's not like we're saying, you've got something wrong with you, and we've got the answer. But it's rather, we're making this show, and our souls are so big, and our hearts are so big, and our arms and bodies are ready, that you can come in and share and experience what it feels like to be one of these Shakespearean characters. Because so many of our participants don't have the opportunity to share their feelings. And like all of us, they have an extreme experience and landscape of feeling, of anger and frustration and jealousy and sexual tension and all the things that go on in a human being. But no, especially non-verbal people, no outlet for it. So this allows an outlet without them feeling like there's something wrong with them and they need to change and they need to be better. It's just an opportunity to really explore how I think and feel and play with my fellow human beings. And at best, you forget who the autistic participant, who the actor is, because everybody is seeking the same thing, which is to express ourselves.
They're creating together.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah. Your performance, the 12th Night, will be played at the Studio Hall at the University of Craiova, at the Department of Arts, tomorrow at 2 and at 4.
Yes.
I am not. How did you work? How did you decide to work again on the 12th Night? How did you? How the process looked?
Yes, so each time I make a new set of sensory games using a Shakespeare play, we have some things that never change. We always use the heartbeat welcome with all participants. We also do these shows with refugees. We go to refugee camps for anybody who has a disassociation of mind and body. Anyone who may be locked away, who may be finding it difficult to speak, to move their body, to be part of the world. So the best way I've ever found to welcome people in for every performance is this heartbeat welcome. So that stays the same. And then the embodiment of using physical catharsis that autistic people can engage physically with a sensory game, because something that they do anyway, like jumping, rocking backward and forward, stimming, spinning, these things autistic people do every day. And usually they're told to stop and they're oppressed in some way. Their bodies are told not to express themselves. Our games embody these movements. So inside a moment where two people fall in love, they may go doing, so they're using the hands to stim and the sort of focus of eye contact. We always put these physical moments into each show, and then story-wise, we find how these physical embodiments will fit into this particular story with Viola and Sebastian losing each other, and then everybody making, as I said, a fool of themselves, falling in love. So in some ways, it's the same process, but it always leads us down different paths depending on the story and depending on whether it's a comedy or a tragedy. The other really key thing is the way we use music. So our participants are listening first. They are not looking. Many actually sit like this. The eye contact is a very difficult thing. So it's so different. Imagine if you tried to do a play and everyone in the audience was just doing this. It's so different. Yeah. But we know that that's not because they don't like us or they don't want to look. It's just the sensory overload is too much. But they will hear us. So we develop what I call a web of sound, that the rhythms and the changing moods and keys of music for each sensory experience is very, very orchestrated. And with 12 Night, at the beginning they say, if music be the food of love, play on. And music's such a central part to our feelings of love that our musicality changes. So each character has a different musical motif. The music is very much in the voices of the actors. It's not electronic, it's not played by a big band, it's played by us in the circle, handheld instruments. And that process is almost my favorite thing, creating new musical motifs, new sensory games that spring from the story that Shakespeare wrote in that particular play, and then give a physical catharsis for the autistic person to join us.
I would like you to better define what catharsis means first, and what does physical catharsis mean, particularly for this audience who we know it's regarded tension about sensations and something, and how does it work?
Okay, so for example, an autistic person may rock back and forth, and probably most of us have seen or know someone in our families who is autistic who will rock back and forth. And as I said, this is something that maybe people say, stop doing that. So we know that actually this is a comfort. It's like a self-soothing thing. So we never say stop. Instead, we encourage it. So firstly, the first big game that we play is describing Shakespeare's play of Viola losing Sebastian. So the game has to have the narrative of Shakespeare in it, and also something that the autistic person will enjoy doing. So Viola is sitting here, and Sebastian is here, and they're stretching out for each other, and they're rocking backwards and forwards, but they can't reach each other. And they call Viola, Sebastian, Viola, Sebastian, and then everyone around the circle joins us. So all the actors on this side are playing Viola, and in between each actor are the autistic participants, and so we say "Hai cu mine" and play. It's in Romanian, and play with us. So everyone gets the chance to do the rocking. So you're telling the story. Viola is stretching, but she can't find her brother, and you're having what I would call a physical catharsis, because we're rocking further than they normally do. We're going, let's do it more. So we're taking what you normally do in your body, but we're doing it more. So we're giving it this feeling that actually after 2 or 3, I don't need to do it anymore. It's been expelled.
Exactly, you expel those tensions.
Exactly. And then later on in the show, we take that even further. When Olivia runs after Viola in the orchard scene, the bell rings and she disclaims her love. I always think it's like the French say, j'ai tombé dans les pommes, I fell in the apples. She just makes a complete fool of herself. And we have a tipping game where we allow the participants to literally fall. We hold their feet and they fall all the way back into one actor's arms, and then they're tipped all the way forward into this other actor's arms. And we sing this beautiful song about falling in love, and each participant has the opportunity to come up and to be held like a cradle, but fall on their feet this time, backwards and forwards. So this idea again of catharsis, of moving backward and forward, is again expanded and then expelled. We know that autistic people can feel that the floor underneath them is like a ship on a heavy sea, that the floor and the walls are not safe, are not steady, and so consequently they're doing this to steady themselves. And so we become the steady wall and the steady floor and allow the tipping to go sometimes all the way forward and all the way back. And they all tell us, either verbally or non-verbally, I'll explain that in a moment, that this is something they love to do. They love to get up and be held and come backward and forward. And we work with a lot of non-verbal people, and we know that they like it because they literally stand and they take us and put our hands here and start to do it even before we've started that. It's really interesting. We work with the same people for years. In London, I have a community of people I've worked with for at least 12 years. So some we met when they were 13, 14, they're now in their late 20s, and they've become full of trust with us, because another thing that you get is people don't trust you. If they're autistic or if they're the families, they're very, very worried that you won't understand. But after 25 years, I've had experience and I've understood. So I hope that explains more what the physical catharsis is and how it's embedded in these moments in Shakespeare where love expands. You know, we always say that the compression of language expands meaning, that Shakespeare's poetry is compressed. And if you even more compress the poetry so that we're just using the barest minimum of what's there in the play, it allows meaning and experience to expand.
How do you develop the space for your production? Because we know for the autistic people, the space is very important.
Yes. To be honest, as I said, I've been to refugee camps. I've worked in India. We were in India. We have a project there in Calcutta. And there was no space in one center we went to because it wasn't appropriate. There were mosquitoes. So we went on the roof. We just did the show on the roof. So I think people say that the space is important, and it is, but we don't live in an ideal world. And sometimes the space is tiny, sometimes it's very big, sometimes it's a rooftop, sometimes it's a refugee camp. The space is defined by the people in it. And if the people in it create a circle, and our bodies and our minds and our hearts are together and purposeful, we define the space.
How did you develop your team? How do you choose your team? How has it evolved over time?
Yeah, many actors write to me and say they would like to join. And if I have someone new, I always say, well, come and just join the circle and see, because let's see. And maybe half say, that's good, but I never want to do that again because it's too much. It demands too much of me. And then others say, this is what I've been looking for all my life. I want to always be here. So that's partly what I do. I don't audition people. Very, very rarely do I sort of hold long auditions because it's such a specific thing. I run projects sometimes in drama schools, long-term projects where within the drama training the students have the opportunity to learn these games and come and play with autistic people, and that's part of their training. That's my favorite thing to do. And then when they graduate, one or two of those students then come and join the company. And the ones who've been with me the longest, that's how I've found them. And then I work all over the world. So I have a project in Barcelona and also one in India. And I have Indian actors and Catalan actors in these different places. So when I go there, those actors are ready because language is also really important to me. We'll be doing our performances tomorrow in Romanian, but none of our actors are Romanian. We learn it because we don't need a lot of language, but I really know the positive effect of the participants hearing the language that they normally hear. That's a gift, that they're not having to strain to listen to English. So the actor needs to be incredibly flexible. He or she needs to have a desire to do what may seem impossible. And when new actors come, they're like, oh my God, I have to do it in Romanian. They're a little bit shocked. But then they realize that actually it's already in the body. And it's sound patterns on the top of a physical movement, really, is what you're doing. It's not standing on stage and giving a long, long speech. So over the years, people have arrived. And some, as I said, have stayed forever, and some come and go a little. It's quite loose and fluid, but I know the right people when I meet them. And then I always try and employ them again.
And in your artistic team, do you have also people on the spectrum?
Yes, in London especially, or in the UK, we have a whole team now of profoundly autistic people who... We've just created a new production of King Lear together for the last 4 weeks. So we had me and my team of actors, plus our autistic actors, playing every day, making new games. And These are non-verbal people who come, they will need 24/7 care in their lives, so their parents or their carers bring them. But they're very much part of our world. We couldn't do this without them. And that goes back to the question you asked about whether I took a course with therapists. Yeah. I didn't. I sat with autistic people and learned from them. They're the people who taught me. I listened and I tuned in. I've spent so much time just on the floor, playing instruments, rocking, laughing, crying, rolling with autistic people. They're the teachers and they're the leaders of this. And we learn from them how best to share these games of Shakespeare.
I must say that in Romania we are doing the first steps in this direction. We are started to do performances for and with probably with handicaps,
yes,
with people with autism, and I'm wondering what are some recommendations that you have for artists that want to start this process?
Yes. Well, two things. There's a wonderful centre here, Luminita Sandu, who we've been working with now since 2022. Yeah. She will be with us tomorrow, and she's now been working with us once a year when we arrive. She's worth reaching out to. I have written a book. My book is Shakespeare's Heartbeat, and it's published by Routledge. It is in English, but I'm sure people can read it. And that very, very clearly tells how to start playing these games. I've written it exactly with this in mind. If it was me 25 years ago, it's the book I would love to have had in my hands as I started making these games. And many people around the world get in touch with me and say, oh, I've got your book, and I'm playing with autistic people. And I have never met them, but they're having a go at doing it. I mean, the most amazing one to me is a woman in Iran who got hold of the book. And there's so many restrictions in her country, but she plays with girls, autistic girls. And she uses the games as described in my book, and she's playing once a week with them to great effect. So there's my book. There's also just starting, like I did, starting something and following one's instinct and going slowly. I think we live in an age where everyone is looking for a quick result. Yeah. Everyone is thinking, if I do this, will it work? But I don't even know what will it work might mean. Maybe someone just enjoys themselves and comes back the next time. That's working. Yeah. You don't need to try and change people. You just need to include them and learn from them and not think that a result is necessary. Yeah. Also, it doesn't need to be performance-based. It doesn't need to drive toward autistic people on a stage and an audience in seats with the lights down watching. That's a very traditional way of using theatre, and it can be wonderful, but that's not going to help the autistic person, because the lights will be too bright and the need for physical stimulation will just be too much. So I think following one's instinct, and also, lastly, if you really want to do it, you probably know something. I think I knew somehow in the back of my mind, somewhere, I had all this instinct, and I allowed myself to follow it without wondering or worrying about what the end result would be. And I still feel that, still learning and developing the games and this work.
Two more questions.
Yes.
And then we're over. I'm wondering, taking from what you said about the rhythm of Shakespeare that mimics like a normal heartbeat, what other dramaturg do you find that works in this so we can make a broader image? Yeah.
Well, I'm often asked this question, and the answer, I'm so sorry to say, is Shakespeare is what I have found. Yeah. This combination of his use of the iambic, the way that words land. In the Tempest, Caliban says, this island's mine, and that word mine is the strong mother sound, the sound, and it lands on the strong heartbeat, and it tells such a story. I've never found a dramatist who uses rhythm and sound as brilliantly as that, and gives drama to the person speaking. It doesn't need to be explained. We don't need to know where the island is or who you are. It's just, it's mine. And you've taken it away from me. That's very clear. I think people should try whatever they want to try. But for me, this huge sea that I swim in of Shakespeare's plays that have this profound use of iambic. Also, it changes over the 37 plays. You know, it's a simple use in the first, say, 10 plays. The rhythms are pretty simple. There's 10 beats probably to most of the lines with rhyming couplets and some prose in the middle. By the time you get to The Tempest and the late plays, it's like late jazz. It's like Miles Davis. There's no real sense to that rhythm. Everything is on the offbeat. There's no rhyming couplets left. So he recreated how we use the iambic. And that's really, really important to me to know which play you're in, whether you're in something that has that simple drive or something more complex. Mm-hmm. So it's too rich a place to be to think that I've done that and now I want to explore another dramatist. It's a lifetime's work being within the plays of Shakespeare and seeing what I can find, what else I can find. And honestly, every time I go to a new play, I find another whole universe that allows us to deepen our experience with the autistic people. So I'm sticking with the Shakespeare. But that doesn't stop anybody else trying to find other things.
And what is the next text from Shakespeare that you are looking
Yes, so
forward
we
to?
have, as I said, just made a new King Lear, a new set of games, which we're so happy with, so excited about, which we just did the first public showing of last month in April. I'm hoping to bring that in 2 years' time, and also twinned with what we will make, which will be our main stage King Lear, which actually will be a very interesting way of doing King Lear with our company of young actors, everyone being the fool, and the fool playing all the parts, the fool needing to act out everything as a shared experience, but will totally come from our learning that we've already had of making the games with the autistic people first.
And the last question.
Yes.
The theme of this year's festival is Will Matters from The Tempest.
Yes.
What does this mean for you, Will Matters?
It's profound for me. If I wasn't here doing my offer of Twelfth Night, the people who come tomorrow would not have an opportunity to come to take part in a Shakespeare play. They wouldn't be coming to the festival. So it matters because everybody, genuinely everybody, should have the chance to participate in the highest, most profound work of art there is, which is Shakespeare's plays. And many more neurodiverse people are being let in, but there's still a group who are profoundly affected, who are marginalized. So I work with them and I make sure that they can come and do something. So it matters because I believe truly that everyone should have the opportunity.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much, Kelly Hunter.
Okay.
Vă mulțumim și dumneavoastră că ați fost alături de noi. Acesta a fost ultimul interviu al zilei. Vă așteptăm mâine de la ora 11, 12 jumate și 15 jumate la interviurile Teatrul Azi la Festivalul Shakespeare de la Craiova 2026. Vă mulțumim!